Well, welcome to Get to Know a Theater with Heilman and Haver. We are pleased to be at the Tacoma Musical Playhouse today with founder and artistic director Jon Douglas Rake. Jon, thanks so much for joining us.
Thank you for being here. This is a great opportunity to tell a little bit more about TMP.
Yeah, we're excited, and it's fun to jump across the bridge. We do so much up in Kitsap, and we made the long trek down to Tacoma.
Yeah, it's my first time here, and this is a beautiful space.
It really is. Yeah,
Thank you.
Absolutely.
Thanks.
We were admiring all the show posters out in the lobby. Now, was this originally a movie theater? This location here?
Yes, this location was a movie theater built in 1949. It was the first movie theater west of downtown. And it had the first crying room for mothers who could bring in their child and watch a movie and not disturb the audience.
So you're the founder of TMP back in '94, so coming up on 30 years. And now you didn't start in this location. Kind of a progression from, it was the Annie Wright Kemper Center, then
Correct.
a church basement. Tell us about why you founded TMP and then the progression in the last 30 years.
All right. Well, good.
Nearly 30.
I am a professional director, choreographer, and I worked in Los Angeles professionally, and worked quite a while, and then started seeing the whole television movie community change, and so I wanted to do more live theater. So my partner and I came up one summer to look at this area. My parents had lived up in this area, and so I decided that this was it. And Tacoma had a renaissance of the arts going on at the time, and so we talked to various people from the city and various connections that we had established, and so we decided, well, Tacoma's going to be it, and it is known as the City of Destiny, and so here we are. And yes, you're right, we started at Annie Wright one summer. The budget for that show was $1,000.
A whole $1,000.
$1,000. And then we moved on to a basement of a church, and then I had a phone call, anonymous phone call from one of the patrons that had watched us and had said, I think I hear the Old Narrows movie theater is available. It was a movie theater, but I heard that there was a church in there and the church got too small for it. So the owner is looking to establish it as a theater again. So we talked to the owner, which was the son of the original builder of this whole complex. And they were so excited. And here we are, poor little TMP at that point. And he said, well, we'll work with you, and as you grow, then we'll get more rent, basically. And they were up in their, he and his sisters, who were the owners, were getting up in their years, and so they wanted to play golf a lot, and they wanted to get rid of the whole complex. And so we had first right of refusal, and we worked it out with our board and figured out how to get the financing and the money, and we purchased this whole block, plus a little white house out in the back that was his mother's. And then just opened our doors and did some remodeling as it went on. We first did the whole lobby area because the lobby area was just very small. The restrooms were teeny tiny, and it sat originally 670 people. We pared it down to about 350. But it still wasn't enough bathroom space. So
The essentials, parking and bathrooms, right?
Exactly. So we took out, when two of the retail units next door became available, the tenants moved out, then we took over that and remodeled the whole lobby section. And then we remodeled the back of those retail sections for our actors. So we have a really nice green room. We have actors' bathrooms, 3 nice dressing rooms, and a big costume area and everything. So that was the first remodel that we did. Then we realized...
When was that?
That was in 2007. And then we realized that our productions were limited with what they could do because it was an old movie theater, there was no backstage space. The stage was very shallow. We do live orchestra. We had no place to put the orchestra. They would be down in the audience.
The first row.
Yeah, basically. And people said, oh, it's so loud, and we knew we had to do something. So we raised $1.2 million. We gutted the whole back area, built this new stage. We built an orchestra loft so that now the orchestra sits up in that area. And then we have backstage space for sets. And we upgraded all of our sound and our lighting. So we're at, everything's up to date as far as technical abilities to do better theater.
Now, with the orchestra up there, is it live orchestra for every show you do?
Well, since COVID, no. You can't shove an 18-piece orchestra up there with COVID precautions. But as we move along, we're going to put the orchestra back in there. We have been using recording music or computer-generated music. But hopefully that's not going to be too much longer, and we'll have live orchestras again.
Great, fantastic. Because that's a unique thing. Most of the theaters, especially around Kitsap, where we've done most of our attending of shows, so to speak, are usually just the either purchase tracks or somebody on a keyboard playing along to the sheet music or whatever. So this is definitely the live, because when you go to Seattle, it's usually live, live orchestras, and it adds so much depth to the music of the show.
Well, and we have a lot of performers that come to perform at TMP because it is a live orchestra. That's kind of what we made our mark with in the area. And you don't get to sing to a live orchestra very often. At most community theaters, it is recorded or a very small combo. But with the full orchestra, it's a great sound and a great feeling.
And you guys won some awards, I understand.
I've won some awards.
Yeah.
We're very proud. The first sort of major award that we were honored with was that we represented the United States at an international theater festival in Monaco. Yeah, and we flew us over and we performed one act of "I Love You, You're Perfect, Now Change."
And poster out in the lobby. That was your favorite.
And it was a big hit, and it was with 23 countries from all over the world. So that was our first major award. Then we, in 2017, we competed for the National American Association of Community Theater Festival, and we won the state, then we won the regional, and then we went to the national, and we won the national with one act of the Addams Family, and we took 8 out of the 13 acting and technical awards, which had never been done before.
Wow. Yeah.
So all along that journey, then we found out that we were asked to perform at another international theater festival in Venice, Florida, which is not really international, but it sounds kind of international with Venice.
Venice, yeah.
And we took the same one act of the Addams Family to that and performed with 11 other companies from all around the world.
Wow. And which scene was that out of the Addams Family? You gotta know.
It was Act 1.
Okay.
And did the whole Act 1.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Wow.
So
impressive.
At the Musical Playhouse, you've got your normal slate of shows. You have kids camps, but throughout the year, you also do some other special events. Can you talk to us about some of those and some of the ones that really seem to play well within the community?
Well, one of the opportunities that we had, it came from having live orchestra. We have a big band leader. So every Christmas we do a big band Christmas show. We do a big band spring show. We do a sing-along with Santa for young kids. That turned out to, it started out just sort of on a whim, and parents loved it because their child could meet Santa and tell Santa what they wanted without going to a mall. And he reads them a story and they sing Christmas carols, and it's a lot of fun. Then we also have our family theater, which is the reason we established that was to introduce younger audiences to musical theater. So the shows are shorter, but they are with all live adult actors. And we do shows like James and the Giant Peach and things that are geared more to children's literature. And those have turned out to be very successful, and now we are able to even offer free admission to those for Tacoma schools districts with the help of the city of Tacoma. And then we do other things periodically through. We're doing Rocky Horror Picture Show this year, and we've
another fan favorite.
Yeah. And that'll be the second time that we've done that. And, we find little places where we can do other little shows or bring in people to perform and stuff like that.
So that's a lot of work.
It is a lot of work.
So you have broad shoulders, but not that broad. So how big is your full-time staff? You always have a board of directors.
Correct.
And how many people do you have on working daily here at the theater?
We have 5.
Okay.
We used to have 9, but COVID hit, and a couple people left. A couple people just decided that they were going to retire. And so we've pared it down to 5 people, but we have people on contract. We have a set person that's on contract. We have a costumer that's on contract. Our lighting designers, our sound designers, they're all on contract. So it's not, of those 5, those are pretty much only administrative positions, except for the one technical builder.
So you have your set staff, and then when you're working on the show, your population sort of grows.
Right.
As you bring people on
right.
to fill these particular roles.
Right.
So, on to this season.
Okay.
Opening here in September.
Right.
Singing in the Rain, another fan favorite. So, opening 2022, 2023. What else is in store?
We start with Singing in the Rain. Then we usually do a family holiday show. This year we decided we're going to stray away from the holiday Christmas carols and all of that. We're doing Joseph and the Amazing Technicolor Dreamcoat. It's been a fan favorite. We've done it 2 times before. Both times were very, very successful. And it's just a fun show. And then we, in our January, February slot, we're doing Once on This Island, which is a retelling of the Little Mermaid story, but through Caribbean music. It's very interesting.
Yeah.
Then we're doing Titanic the Musical, which nobody ever does because it has a huge cast, needs a huge orchestra, and the music is very, very difficult. But it's a beautiful show. And it talks about all the different relationships of the people that were on the show, on the boat. Not so much about the sinking. The sinking is a big part of it. But and then in the springtime, we are doing a new show. We're one of the first theaters in the United States, or community theaters, I should say, to present it. It's called Jimmy Buffett's Escape to Margaritaville. And it's all Jimmy Buffett music set to a story, kind of like Mamma Mia. And it's a kind of a fun, corny story, but it has all his music, and audiences are just going to want to sing along.
Calling all parrot heads.
Yes,
I'm looking
absolutely.
forward to that one. I saw when that was on Broadway and thought that that would be almost worth the trip to go see that, because being a big fan of his music, and I know he was involved in the making of that as well. So
yes, he wrote some of the story about it, and then all of the music. We saw it in New Orleans before it opened on Broadway, and he actually came out at the end of the show and played, and everybody sang. So we're kind of hoping that maybe he'll show up.
Hey, well, if he's here, we'll be here.
Yeah.
And Jimmy, if you're listening or watching.
Yes, exactly.
Well, we'll be here anyway, I think.
Yeah, for sure.
But so, and the Titanic one is intriguing. I just saw Titanish, which was Habit Comedy at the Seattle Public Theater, just did a spoof of Titanic. So that'll be a nice little bookend to that. But on that, so one of the things we ask a lot of the theater folks that we interview is on the philosophy of programming, because there's this balance between the popular show that's going to fill the seats and bring people out versus things that directors or some of the artistic directors want to put on a pet project. How does Tacoma Musical Playhouse walk that line or balance that need to fill the seats versus, hey, I really want to do this show?
That's a really good question, and it has a fairly simple answer. You ask your audience what they want to see, and then you use those as bookends. So this year, Singing in the Rain was one of the big ones. Music Man, the summer production, was another big one. And then Joseph was pretty popular as far. We do an audience survey every year, and they help us select. And then there are shows like Once on This Island or Titanic, or Jimmy Buffett's Escape to Margaritaville, which a lot of people don't know about, but you know they're going to enjoy that. And so we've started moving towards a little bit more experimental a little bit. Titanic is not a show that everybody's going to love because it's not a story that everybody wants to hear, and the music's very operatic kind of. But we balance it with using their picks and then picks that I pick that I know that they will probably enjoy, and push the boundary a little bit.
And how do you do your research? Do you travel around and see a lot of shows? You just
I do. We go to every year. We go to New York, or we try to. We take group theater tours. We take groups from TMP to New York, or we've gone all around the world to see theater, many places. And so we see different theater, and then we learn, well, what did you like? And we have to do talk backs, and we do a behind the curtain before each show, which helps educate them about the show they're about to see, and then hear music and get little snippets of the shows. And so we kind of learn what who our audience really is. And then I am a musical freak. I mean, I love trivia and all that kind of stuff. And so I'm always constantly doing research on what's going on and what's out there.
Did we get to all of the shows of the season? Did we get to all 6?
The summer show was The Music Man.
Oh, that's right, Music Man.
Yeah.
Okay. And I'm sensing a theme this year: upbeat, happy music.
Yeah.
Maybe with the exception of Titanic, more upbeat, fun stuff.
Yeah.
And you're obviously polling and asking questions of your audience. Do you find that there's definitely a swing towards a desire for more upbeat stuff post-COVID?
Yes. I mean, because audience numbers have gone way down, that's one of the reasons we picked some of the shows that we did for this season, knew that they were popular, get them back into the theater, get them back comfortable coming into the theater and seeing those kind of shows. But yes, I mean, we did Kinky Boots, just closed this summer. And the theme of that is love and acceptance. And we need a lot more of that. So that's kind of our philosophy for this season is we need love, acceptance, and laughter.
Amen.
So what's the best way for our viewers or listeners to keep up with Tacoma Musical Playhouse, to get tickets and find out how they can contribute?
Sure.
Or possibly audition.
Absolutely.
Get involved on the tech side.
Absolutely. Yeah. Well, we have a website, www.tmp.org, and there's always information about the season, how you can donate. We put our audition notices on there. Every year we do a season audition for all of the shows with all of the directors. And then if somebody moves into town later, they can contact our box office and say, I'm just moved to the area. They can call the box office and get on our mailing list. We do a newsletter 6 times a year that says all about what's coming up and what's going on. We have Facebook groups. We have Camp TMP, our educational wing, and then our main page, Facebook page that talks about, and it's kind of fun because we do little bits about meet some of the cast and see how they, like, for instance, Kinky Boots was fun because some of the drag queens put on how they do their makeup and stuff like that. So
human interest stuff.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, one thing I want to touch on before we leave is something that your theater is doing that not a lot of others are, and that's around the kids workshops. A lot of theaters throughout Kitsap and in the area have kids workshops, but this week you're doing a tech workshop.
Right.
Which is something that's completely unique. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Sure. Well, we decided last year that we were leaving out a little bit of the population of teenagers that were interested in theater. Not everybody wants to be up on stage. And so we talked to some of our designers and tech people, and we decided let's offer a tech camp. And so they come in for a week. It's free. We had more than we could handle applications, so we had to pare it down a little bit. And they're from all over the area, Pierce County. And so one day they'll work with a set designer, and one day they'll work with a costume designer. One day they'll work with a lighting designer. One day they'll work with a sound designer. One day they're working with me as a director and a choreographer and stage manager and things like that. So and we're doing that every year about the same time this summer. And kids are loving it. I mean,
what great exposure, and to make it free
absolutely.
To the community is
well. Then the
phenomenal.
other thing too is that those kids go back to their schools, and they know more, and they can say, "See what I learned," and we can help you here at our high school or whatever.
You're growing your farm team,
and we are growing our farm team. Yes,
that new generation.
So
we get we get new volunteer kids to work backstage or run the light board, run the soundboard, all that kind of stuff. So
doing some phenomenal work here.
Yeah.
What a pleasure it's been to come in and meet you and talk about your programs. And we're excited to come and take in some of the shows this season.
Absolutely.
So tmp.org, all over social media, down here on 6th in Tacoma. Super easy to find, super accessible. I hope everybody's going to come down and check out your new season and avail themselves of some of these special programs. So, Jon Douglas Rake, thank you so much for your time today. It's been a pleasure.
Thank you for having me.
And we'll see you in a few weeks for Singing in the Rain.
Awesome. It's going to rain on stage.
Is it?
It is.
Okay. Can't miss that one.
I'll have to be here for that.
Thanks, Jon. Thanks, Jon.